Alright, this is called The Villain's Crime. I gave them a lot of information that showed that the narrative about me was untrue. Sent them a lot of evidence showing that obviously Natalie and I were friends. What we're going to do is we're going to watch the video of theirs about Natalie Bollinger, but really it's not actually about Natalie Bollinger. As you can see right here, their screensaver for it is my picture. Now, you hover over it and it goes to Natalie. But the reality is, it says man films chilling videos after becoming a murder suspect. Interesting. Let's watch this.
Irritated by your bladder protection?
We'll escape that shit. Alright, I don't know what's going on with it. It keeps trying to go to an advertisement. So we'll try it one more time again.
Well, do you know what happened to her?
No. You know who does?
That's the very beginning. That's the very beginning of the situation on this channel. He starts off with a video of me, and then he misrepresents the situation.
This is Sean Schwartz. And just minutes ago, he was being interviewed about the murder of teen...
Wrong! Now we're talking about two completely different situations, which the guy that I spoke to was aware of. See, that part at the beginning was in Boulder, Colorado, after I had been assaulted by Officer Waylon Lolatai. Not minutes earlier. See, this right here, the picture they're showing, this one's in Broomfield. Not only are they not the same date, they're not the same month, they're not even in the same year. See, this right here, this screenshot is from me speaking to Detectives Rogers and Peterson. That was on December 29th of 2017. Whereas if we go back just a few seconds, this right here is from, I believe, the 10th or the 11th of January of 2018 in Boulder. Not even the same jurisdiction. So this guy has started off by lying within the first 30 seconds.
Is Sean Schwartz. And just minutes ago, he was being interviewed about the murder of...
Minutes ago, and it's within the first 15. This is only 12 seconds in when he says that.
Teenage girl Natalie Bollinger.
A teenage girl. No, she was a grown-ass adult. They keep saying teenage girl to try to insinuate that I was hanging out and molesting and stalking an underage child. And that is for certainly not the case. I met Natalie when she was 13 selling drugs for her dad. And I ran her off. Told her she was not allowed to hang out with me. Told her she was not allowed around me. That just the fact that I had little kids in the general vicinity was enough for people to target me as if I was a child molester or a pedophile or some shit like that. When she was 13, I didn't even know her name. And I had to run her off, and her sister. They did a lot of inappropriate stuff, and later on, they thanked me for running them off. Matter of fact, the guy who made this video has access to that too. He got to see that what he's saying right here, he knows is a lie.
Because of a few disturbing social media posts, everyone believes...
A few disturbing social media posts. Now, first of all, these aren't social media posts. These three right here are messages between me and Natalie Bollinger. While we were friends. Not in social media posts, but in private messages between Natalie and I. This is after she became an adult. Like in this one right here, This is where she's talking about how, oh, that's not it. There's several of them where she's talking about me going to Virginia to see her, how important it is. But that's not what he wants to post up. Here's one from Natalie where she's talking about how terrible things are. You know, I mean, it's not like these aren't messages between Natalie and I. They absolutely are. He absolutely got them from me. They also have the date on them. This one says July 23rd, 2016. Now, on July 23rd, 2016, was Natalie Bollinger an adult or was she a child? Don't get me wrong, I have helped out plenty of kids in my day. And in Chapel, Nebraska, it's a different situation. Small town, basically, if you know somebody, you know everybody. If you're friends with somebody, you're expected to look out for their kids. Different scenario than being in Boulder, Colorado. This one right here, Natalie's talking about foster care. Also, it says man films chilling videos after becoming a murder suspect. Well, first of all, I was never called a murder suspect by the people who were allowed or capable of making that decision. Second of all, the video that they have this right here. This is a video where I am speaking up about the abuse that was made before Natalie Bollinger was killed. How do we know for certain that it was from before Natalie Bollinger was killed? Well, it's from the background. That's at Kenneth Wilson and Leatha Plunkett's. And that's on right off of Hampton and Federal in Denver. So he's gone out of his way at this point. We're only 18 seconds into this, and he's lied and intentionally misrepresented multiple times already.
Believes that Sean is behind Natalie's death. But Sean insists on his innocence, correcting everyone by saying that he and Natalie were actually soulmates.
And there's another lie. Now, this is something that I very specifically told this guy was untrue. I never claimed that me and Natalie Bollinger were soulmates, but this guy is slandering the shit out of my name. We aren't even 30 seconds in yet. We're only 27 seconds in, and this guy has slandered my name repeatedly, over and over again.
The messages before Natalie was killed, those
It says exclusive interview. Now, this is, he and I spoke for about, I don't know, about an hour, I suppose. And I sent him messages showing that me and Natalie were, in fact, friends. While she was, after the fact, claiming that I had stalked her to Virginia and in Virginia, the messages very clearly show that I was bullied into going to Virginia. I was manipulated under threat of her killing herself if I didn't. This guy has access to the evidence. But like these other Natalie Bollinger sites, he wants to go with a popular narrative to increase his ratings.
show that we were friends. She did tell me that she loved me an awful lot.
Little did anyone know
And
that
she
the
did.
truth about Natalie's death would take a shocking turn. And the real killer was someone no one saw coming.
He's also just a psycho. You know, like, he'll lure you in, and that, yeah.
That's Joseph Michael Lopez right there, just so you know. We're only 50 seconds into this.
Around 4 p.m. on December 28, 2017, the Broomfield Police Department in Colorado received a disturbing call from a man named...
Now, we're going to talk about this just for a second, because it was around 4 o'clock that I got a phone call from somebody claiming that they were from the, I believe, the Broomfield Police Department, wanting to know if I knew where Natalie was. I was at Kayla Trujillo's at the time. Obviously, I didn't know where Natalie was. I wasn't interested in knowing where Natalie was. I was interested in people stopping the abuse, stopping the violence. You guys want to pretend that because I did what I was told to do, that that's a sign of stalking. I'm supposed to try to get these people's address, but if I get their address, then they get to pretend that I'm stalking them because I'm trying to get their address. Stalkers want to know where you are and who you are with. Obviously, I did not ask Natalie Bollinger who she was with or where she was at any point in time. I did not care. What I cared about was people were hurting me. They were threatening to harm me and my friends and family, and Natalie was doing nothing to stop it. The police were doing nothing to stop it. Hell, they were telling me to get a hold of Natalie Bollinger and explain it to her. That if I didn't try to tell Natalie what was going on, that they couldn't do anything about it. Well, that is absolutely not the case. Those officers lied to me because they didn't want to do their fucking job. That was before Natalie was killed. Do you think those cops were going to admit that they did that after Natalie was killed? Fuck no. Now we get into a bunch of fucktarded bullshit in this. This guy can't stop lying. I sent him enough evidence for him to know this is all bullshit, but this is how he's playing it. I've only made it 4 minutes into this video because it gives me a fucking shit ton of anxiety hearing all of this fucking slander. All of these predators their abuse against me is predicated upon the belief that I am a stalker, that I couldn't take no for an answer, that it was about vagina, and it never was. This guy here is aware of that. The messages between Natalie Bollinger and I show that we were friends. It shows that it wasn't a sexual relationship, that we weren't dating, that Natalie thought she was in love with me, and he's gotten to see that evidence. But that's not what he's putting in here, is it? No, he's making me out to be the creepiest fucker on the planet already.
Joey, who reported that his 19-year-old girlfriend, Natalie Bollinger, was missing from their home.
19. Not 13. 19. You know how old she was when we were friends? She was 18. Not 13. She was 18. And when we stopped being friends, that should have been the end of it. It shouldn't have been any of this crap where her and her sister were pretending that I threatened their family in Virginia, that I stalked them to Virginia, when the evidence shows very clearly that the trip was planned, and not just with me, not just with Natalie, but Alicia Bollinger and Maddie Bowe were also both heavily involved.
So just a little bit ago, my girlfriend got a protection order against this.
This is Joey Moreno right here. And of course, it says I'm 37. I was not 37. She was claiming I was 42, but I was only 37 at the time. And of course, this is from a protection order that I didn't even know I could go to a court date over. I had no clue. Now it says the court finds that the petitioner has alleged acts of harassment, stalking, and credible threats made by the respondent, except that I wasn't allowed in court. I didn't even know I had a court date. I had no clue. I was not allowed to show any of the evidence of the abuse against me. The people that I was sent to for help turning this in, I was sent to mental health for help turning this in. I was sent to people like Nicole Peralta, Nicole Jarrell, and Jeff Ritter. Now it says, based on the information provided, the court issues a temporary restraining order prohibiting the respondent from contacting, harassing, threatening, or approaching the petitioner in any manner. Now, of course, it didn't matter because I wasn't even allowed at fucking court. I didn't even know I had a fucking court date. It says this order includes, but is not limited to, direct or indirect contact, including electronic communication, third-party contact, and physical proximity. Meanwhile, her friends and family had not stopped violating that. They never stopped. They never stopped. They made my life hell and then played victim, and the police assumed instead of doing their goddamn jobs. Now, the officer in this situation is very well aware that this is bullshit. Now, he was supposed to be on tonight. He usually gets off around 4 a.m., but he's off. He won't be back on until Wednesday. Now, I've been real nice to the guy about this, but the fact is I'm still being abused, and he's taking his dear sweet time. Now, of course, this is a temporary protection order. Temporary. Not permanent. But it becomes permanent when you are not informed that you have a court date. When you're not informed that you can go to court. But this isn't the most important part in this video. No, we're going to get to the part where Joey Moreno admits that the only people who knew that Natalie Bollinger was staying there was Natalie Bollinger's twin sister, Alicia. So when Natalie was pretending that I was walking right by her house in Colorado, that was obviously an outright lie. How the fuck would I know where she's living in Colorado? I didn't even know she was in fucking Colorado. It's very important to note that.
And we've been stalking her for quite some time.
And this is something that they continue to push to this day. I did not stalk Natalie Bollinger to Virginia. I went to Virginia because she was going to kill herself if I fucking didn't, over her family. After I left Virginia, I never contacted her to find out where she was. I never contacted her to find out where she was fucking hanging out or who she was hanging out with. I contacted her because I was told I was supposed to. I was told that the police couldn't do anything if I didn't contact her. I had to contact her and tell her that people were assaulting me and treating me like a pedophile. And if I didn't do that, the cops couldn't do anything. So I did what I was instructed to do, and the police still didn't do anything. And I'm still taking the abuse to this day over this. If they illegally prevent you from going to court, then it's fine, isn't it? See, they're not allowed to, for the victim, which in this case would be Alicia Bollinger pretending to be the victim, they're not allowed, or even with Natalie, they're not allowed to stand in front of her so that her supposed predator can't see her in court. So what they do instead is do everything they can to prevent the supposed predator from going to court, from knowing what they're supposed to do or what they can do, by intentionally lying and misdirecting the victim. Because here's the thing, in this situation, the person they are painting as the predator is the victim. I am the victim. I never stalked Natalie. The evidence proves that I never stalked Natalie, but I am still being abused over it to this day. By law enforcement, by local communities. I cannot move anywhere without being harmed because this slander, and it is slander. I did not stalk Natalie Bollinger, and I wasn't allowed a court date. The same thing with Alicia Bollinger. Many of these predators, when I try to turn them in, they play victim and call me mentally ill, and that's the end of it. Because they said mentally ill, I'm not a human being, and they're not going to look at my goddamn evidence without a friend or family member who actually gives a shit, which I literally have never had. All these people who claim to be my friends and family members who wanted to argue in these Natalie Bollinger groups, none of them were my friends because none of them helped me to turn it in. None of them. Not one of them helped me to turn it into the police. All they wanted to do was argue on Facebook.
And I came home to see that thing and all of her stuff here. I don't understand it. It's not like her. She's supposed to be waiting for me.
Now, this is the boyfriend that she was saying that she was having problems with. She told Joseph Michael Lopez, the guy who shot her in the head, that her family and Joey Moreno were the reason that she wanted her life to end. And that is absolutely the truth. Absolutely, I believe that. And the reason I believe that is because Natalie Bollinger was suicidal for a reason. She was strung out on drugs, and she was dependent upon her predators to get those drugs.
And some what's her name? Natalie Bollinger.
When officers arrived at Joey's home, he had far more to share about Natalie's sudden disappearance.
So you guys talked today or no? On your break?
Break at 9.
9 a.m.?
9,
and at 1:30 we're texting. I could have sworn we talked on the phone, but it must have just been a text. I've been in contact with her all day until she's the last text I got from someone.
What time was that at?
Now, obviously, Natalie Bollinger knew exactly what she was doing. Between telling the truth and destroying my life, she chose to destroy my life. So what if you're fucking embarrassed? That's no excuse for allowing an innocent man to be treated like a pedophile or a rapist. That is no excuse for trying to frame somebody for fucking murder, which is exactly what Natalie did. Even worse, the police tried to do the same thing.
I tried calling 1:30, 1:30. And you can see all my missed calls. I called her until I had to go back to work, and then I got off work.
Who do you think knows you guys live here?
Friday, the only person who knows is her sister. So I first
The only person who knows is her sister. So how could I possibly be stalking this guy and Natalie Bollinger at their place? The only person who knows is her sister.
Natalie and Joey were in a steady relationship, and she had eventually moved in with him.
They were not in a steady relationship. Natalie Bollinger had 3 boyfriends when she died. 3 of them. Why did she have 3 boyfriends? Because she needed access to heroin. She didn't have the money to be spending on heroin.
According to Joey, Natalie hadn't mentioned plans to see anyone that day.
I missed this. Now they have any mental health issues diagnosed?
Yes, she does. She's great.
He said she's strange. Oh, she was strange. I'm strange too. Of course, you guys accept her strange. She's allowed to be strange because she's young and pretty. And because she's female. But I'm not allowed to be strange. I'm not allowed to be different. I'm punished no matter what.
Concerns about Natalie's well-being may have been tied to her sudden disappearance. But investigators kept circling back to one question from the very beginning. Who was at the door?
If you had to guess where you think she would be right now.
Yes, it's her sister now.
Now, they did get a hold of her sister. And what did her sister do? She went to Boulder and started threatening people. Started threatening to harm people. Started screaming at people, wanting to know where I was at. Well, I hadn't been able to go to Boulder safely since I left Virginia. I couldn't go to Boulder, Colorado without being actually assaulted. And I couldn't even go to the police. Trying to go to the police resulted in me being told that they've got real police work to do, or I just need to man up, or I just need to try to settle this out of court. Did I ever think about calling her up and letting her know that this stuff was happening? Maybe I should call her. And then later on, the insistence that I have to call her or they can't do anything.
With her sister.
Investigators immediately contacted Natalie's sister.
Now, Alicia Bollinger, she's another one of those people who is a predator. But you look at her, she's pretty, isn't she? Her and Natalie Bollinger are twin sisters. So, of course, when they came to me for help, and I helped them, and then it didn't turn out the way that they wanted it to because they were busy getting fucked up on drugs, well, who cares? People are going to believe them. They're going to listen to them. They're going to throw on their sweet and innocent voice, and all of a sudden, they're in the right. No, they're not. They were fucking doing goddamn drugs and destroying innocent people's lives, and they just didn't want to get in trouble. They didn't want consequences. They didn't want repercussions for their actions. So they had no problems destroying an innocent man's life. Mine. Now, Alicia Bollinger went missing 3 different times since Natalie disappeared, and every time she goes missing, people start threatening to kill me and my friends and family. But what is this officer doing about it? This officer in Colorado, well, he's off for the next few days. Now, Alicia Bollinger here. See, these people, after slandering my name, resulting in me being stalked and assaulted, wanted to continue to pretend that because I was speaking out about the abuse, that it meant that I was stalking them. That because I was doing as I was instructed, that it meant that I was stalking them. No, I did what I was instructed to do. When I was told to go to the police, I went to the police. When I was told to go to my friends or family, I went to my friends or family. When I was told to go directly to the source, I went directly to the source. And I followed the instructions that we're told from when we're little kids. If you're being bullied, you're supposed to go to your bully and tell them how it makes you feel. Well, that doesn't work. That results in you being made fun of. That results in more bullying. But you have to try it. Of course, when you tell them to stop bullying you, tell them that you're being harmed and you want it to stop, they play victim. They play stupid and then they play victim every single time. And this is not okay. It's not okay that I have been harmed for 10 fucking years over this. 10 years. This started in 2016. It is now 2026.
Alicia, and what she shared pointed them directly to a suspect.
Who's the suspect? Obviously, I'm not the suspect. I was never named as a suspect for a reason. Because there was no evidence connecting me to Natalie Bollinger and her death. All of the evidence showed that I was the victim, which is why the police went out of their way to keep it out of the fucking courts.
Hi, my name is David Hyde. I'm a detective with the Brimfield Police Department. I know it hasn't been that long a time, but have you heard from your sister at all? Okay.
Now that's Detective Hyatt. He's one of the detectives that I spoke with. Right after Natalie disappeared and they got the call, the first thing they did was call me. I was at Kayla Trujillo's house at the time. I've also got the messages with Kayla Trujillo that verify that. I've got verification that everything that the police and the courts wanted to pretend was a schizophrenic delusion, it's all true. But that's not what this guy posted up, is it? Did he post up the evidence of that? Well, maybe later on in this he does. Maybe.
Any thoughts on where she is?
Honestly, I'm really concerned about the person, Sean.
That's right. After victimizing me for over a year, resulting in me being physically assaulted repeatedly, resulting in my life being put at risk, resulting in people threatening to kill me and my friends and family members, over and over and over again. And these people have the gall to continue to play victim. Alicia Bollinger disappeared on drug binges 3 times after her sister was killed. All 3 of those times, she allowed me to be harmed. To this day, I have the right to face my accusers, and that right has been denied because of the term mentally ill.
I'm so freaked out because, she's never done anything like this before, and I think something's...
And that's not true either. She had disappeared more than once over the abuse from her family and from her boyfriends. And every time they say she's never done anything like this. Meanwhile, you guys realize that I didn't kill Natalie. You know the dude who did it. Fucking Joseph Michael goddamn Lopez.
wrong here. So I'm gonna go look for her. I don't want to sit at home and wait.
Now, did she go looking for Natalie? No, she went looking for me. She went to Boulder, Colorado, and screamed at a bunch of people that I know, yelled at them. And of course, several of them came up and told me about it. And I said, well, we need to turn that in. And I was told, oh, well, I feel bad for her. Her sister just died. Well, that's not a valid excuse. That is not a valid excuse for the crimes that she committed against me and others. Her sister died, so that makes it okay to hurt people. Well, guess what? I've had lots of loved ones die, and I don't get to go run around hurting people. Nobody stops to consider that I did care about Natalie Bollinger, that she and I were friends. And when we stopped being friends, that doesn't mean I don't care about her anymore. That means I don't want anything to do with her fucking junky goddamn bullshit. Or her sister's junky goddamn bullshit. But you guys will believe a pretty face. You don't care if it's true or not. You will believe the pretty face.
You see, Natalie had a stalker. Sean.
And see, this guy has gotten to see the evidence that Natalie was not stalked by me, that I was the one stalked. But that's not how he's selling this narrative, is it? All of this stems from the fact that I was illegally prevented from going to court against Natalie Bollinger. You see this picture of me? This is me in jail after being assaulted by Officer Waylon Lolatai in the Natalie Bollinger situation. Then they pretended to the media that it was unrelated. This needs to be taken seriously, but it's not.
Ward's 42 was a homeless man that she had known since she was 13.
Meanwhile, I wasn't 37, or I wasn't 42, I was 37. She claimed that I was 42, and she was wrong. Now, they claim that I stalked her. Obviously, I'm not a stalker. This picture right here is in Boulder, Colorado, after I was assaulted for murdering a woman I didn't murder. This one's from January of 2018. This one is from December of 2017. This one's from January of 2018. This one right over here. This one right over here. This one right here is from November or December of 2017. So this guy has gone out of his way, despite the fact that he was sent lots of evidence showing this stuff is bullshit. But here he is, slandering my name, doing the popular thing. On the bright side, there's actually laws in Poland, which is where these people are from, that make it highly illegal for them to do this. So the people who made this can actually go to prison for it. How scary is that?
5 days earlier, a restraining order had been issued against him. Natalie also posted a public statement on Facebook.
Now let's read this public post. It says, "Hey y'all, I have a public announcement." Right? Trying to sound all sweet and innocent. This is after over a year of me being assaulted repeatedly, being threatened repeatedly, my friends and family's lives being threatened, me having to repeatedly move, being socially isolated, being targeted by sick perverts like Tim Beeson. And she types, "Hey y'all, I have a public announcement. There is a man, Sean Schwartz. I met this man when I was young. I ran into him about 2 years ago. Long story short, I became friends with him." Now right there, obviously, yes, we were friends. There's the word right there, the important word, friends. Not boyfriend and girlfriend. Not friends with benefits. Not sexual partners. Not husband and wife. Friends. Meanwhile, when I had to try to turn this stuff in and told the truth about it, there was a woman named Miranda in the hospital in Scotts Bluff who wanted to claim that I was delusional because I said that Natalie and I were friends. Natalie says herself, right here, we became friends. It says, I became friends with him. Now, it further says I helped him out with rides and stuff, and that's true. I couldn't carry all of my crap in my backpack as a homeless person because my back was screwed. I needed help, but I didn't have any real friends. When I hurt my back, my friends threw me away like I was garbage. So she typed, I helped him out with rides and stuff, and she absolutely did. She also tried to get me a job with some beekeepers. It turned out there was a screwed up situation where her boss was trying to fuck her and it was uncool. Anyway, she wrote, I moved to Virginia. He drove across the country to see me. Now, that part right there, she uses to try to insinuate that I did that just to stalk her. But when you read the actual messages between us, you realize that, first of all, she wasn't the only person I was going to see. And second of all, that it was her idea, that this is something that was planned. This is something that she did want and she was aware of. This is something that she and her twin sister Alicia and Maddie Boa had all planned out with me. Now, this guy is going out of his way to intentionally sell a narrative that's improper, incorrect, and an outright lie. But it also helps me that he did this. It says he drove across the country to see me, and I did. At her request, well, insistence, she was going to kill herself if I didn't. It says, slept behind my work for weeks. Now that's an outright lie. She lost her job at the cricket store before I got there. The reason she lost her job at the cricket store is because she got into a car accident when she was trying to kill herself because I wasn't there fast enough. That's right. She was going to kill herself over her ex-boyfriend, that would be Tim Beeson, and her family, if I wasn't there fast enough. And then she drove her car into a telephone pole when I said I didn't have the money to go. But she doesn't say that in here, does she? No, she intentionally misleads the situation. And instead of finding out if it's true, you just assume and harm innocent fucking people. I'm not the only innocent person who was harmed over this. My little sister and my niece didn't deserve the crap that they got. Now, out of all of these literally hundreds of people that told me their lives were threatened by these people, how many of those people ever helped me to turn it in? Not a single one of them. Not one of those people who claimed that their life was threatened ever tried to turn it in with me. These people were threatening their lives for sticking up for me, threatening their lives for coming forward, but they were coming forward in the wrong places. They were arguing on Facebook instead of coming forward with me to the police. When she says I slept behind her work for weeks, that's an outright lie. And you can't prove this is true because it's not. You can't prove it. Now, you can prove that I stayed behind the cricket store. I admit that. Did she work there at the time? No, she didn't. Her twin sister Alicia did. And I saw her twin sister Alicia every day. She text messaged me every day. Both of them called me and told me that they loved me at least once a day. You don't insist on going out with somebody on their birthday if they're stalking you. You don't insist on giving them presents if they're stalking you. You don't tell somebody that you love them if they're stalking you. It says, slept behind my work for weeks. I slept behind the cricket store because Alicia Bollinger asked me to. But by preventing me from having a court date against my predators, she automatically wins. I have been trying to get a day in court against these predators, and it needs to be taken seriously. It also says, when I told him I didn't want to see him anymore, he sent me hundreds of texts and calls, and that is an outright lie too. When I left Virginia, I messaged her and her sister both. One message, letting them know that if they were afraid of me, that I would block them, leave, and never talk to them again. And that's exactly what happened. I blocked them on Facebook with the intention of never talking to them again before I even left Virginia. And I drove 1,700 miles away from Virginia to get away from this fucking psycho. What she did is psychotic. Now, based on the fact that she's a strung-out drug addict, obviously, well, we can expect some psychotic behaviors out of the nut job. You say, don't speak ill of the dead. Yeah, say the same thing about Hitler. She's not responsible because she didn't do it herself. Well, you know, Adolf Hitler we hold responsible for an awful lot of people in concentration camps that he didn't throw the switch on. He's not the one who physically put them in the oven, so he's not responsible, is he? You see in here how you make a comparison. I mean, you kind of got to have rules be the same for everybody. But when you decide, oh, well, she's got a vagina, so she gets special privileges. She's young, so she gets more special privileges. She's pretty, so she gets more special privileges. This is just fucked. Says, when I told him I didn't want to see him anymore, he sent hundreds of texts and calls, and that is absolutely not the truth. When I left Virginia, I had no intention of ever contacting her again. And between the end of October, when I left Virginia, and November of the same year, when I had to unblock her to let her know that people were treating me like a pedophile and a fucking rapist over her, well, then she blocked me. And that's fine. It's fine for her to block me. But the fact is that she was made aware of why I was being harmed. Did she ever in this type up that I was getting a hold of her because people were treating me like a pedophile? No. She goes out of her way to intentionally mislead the situation. It says he parked his car in front of my house. That's not true. My car broke down in front of her mom's house on Military Highway. She said, he parked his car in front of my house, blocking Military Highway for hours, laying on his horn. Well, I was laying on my horn because I was stuck in fucking traffic. I was afraid somebody was going to fucking careen into me. That some family of six in a minivan was going to come around that corner, slam into the side of my car, and that'd be all she wrote. I was so afraid of that, I couldn't even look that direction. Says laying on his horn. Now, if I'm laying on my horn, they've got warning that there's somebody stuck in the fucking road. This is common sense here, people. This isn't a threat against somebody's life. When's the last time that you decided that somebody honking a horn was them literally threatening to kill you and your friends and family? There's a big difference between those two. One of them sounds like this. The other one sounds like, I'm going to kill you and your friends and family. Not the same. It says he was arrested. No, I wasn't. I was taken to the hospital because I was severely fucking dehydrated. So obviously, most of this is bullshit. The part that's not bullshit is still bullshit because it's intentional misleading. She lied repeatedly, not caring how much harm I am enduring. It also says, since then, I've asked him to leave me alone, and he won't. Really? I did leave her alone. I drove 1,700 miles to get away from her. I had to try to get a protection order against Maddie Boa and Tim fucking Beeson before the year was even over. I hadn't even been out of Virginia a whole month when I had to try to start getting protection orders against Maddie Boa and Tim Beeson. But I couldn't get those because police, instead of listening, wanted to send me to mental health. I'd go to mental health and they don't care. They say, oh, I believe you, but then they take no steps to help you turn it in. They want you to come back next week so they can get more money. And then they want you to come back the week after that, and the week after that, and the week after that. They're not interested in doing their jobs to stop the abuse. They just want to get paid. And that's the reality of this situation. This guy who made this, the Villains Crime Feller, he got sent a lot of evidence that shows outright, 100%, beyond any shadow of a doubt, that Natalie Bollinger was not stalked by me, that I was the one stalked by her, that I wasn't getting a hold of her to find out where she was or who she was hanging out with. I was getting a hold of her because I was told to by law enforcement. I was getting a hold of her to put a stop to the abuse. In that situation, those messages between me and Natalie, am I typing about the abuse? Am I asking her to call off the dogs? Or is it a situation where I'm threatening to harm her and her friends and family? Saying that I'm going to get my friends and family to go after her. Obviously, that's not the fucking case. We're not even 4 minutes into this video, and we're 45 minutes into the commentary. Now, there's also a situation where we were able to find several accounts that people had made in my name. They also made a lot of accounts in my friends' and family's names to threaten and harass me. But I wasn't allowed to show that in court because I wasn't even allowed a court date. I wasn't given a court date. I wasn't given any information about a court date. I wasn't given any useful information whatsoever. All of the information that I got from law enforcement and all of the information that I got from all of these mental health places was all wrong. Now, I did look up the laws, and I tried following the laws, but police officers wouldn't follow the laws, and mandatory reporters wouldn't follow the laws. And I had no friend or family member who was there to make sure that those people did their jobs. So, later on, when Natalie Bollinger got her fucking brains blown out, these people did everything that they could to hide, to pretend that they didn't know anything was wrong, that I didn't get a hold of them, that blah, 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 blah. Fuck that. It says, since then, I've asked him to leave me alone, and he won't. He's sent emails for over a year, close to every day, harassing me. Well, that's absolutely not the truth. Close to every day, there's a grand total of 6 days. Out of that over a year time, there was 6 days total that I had contacted Natalie. And all of those because I was supposed to. Every one of them. It's not my fault or my choice for Natalie Bollinger to not act like an adult. It's also not my fault or choice for these officers to not act like adults. Now, when she claims that I sent her emails for over a year, close to every day, harassing her, that's absolutely not the truth. Tim Beeson harassed me a fucking shit ton, and he's not the only one. She also wrote, making numerous accounts until I blocked him again, threatening my family, telling me he'll kill himself in front of me. Well, first of all, I didn't threaten her family. Second of all, I didn't make numerous accounts until she blocked me again. I made a grand total of 2 accounts before Natalie was killed. Both of them because I was trying to follow instructions to get a hold of Natalie and let her know what was going on so that the police could do their jobs. Now, what threats were against her family? What threats? While people literally have sent me messages, and let me pause this for a second. I'll pull this up. Let's take a look at that. See, there's a big difference between me speaking up about abuse and what this guy's doing here. He wrote, hello again, Sean. I'm going to kill and rape your sister's kid and take a pic of my cock in its open-gutted rib cage. Since you're a pedo, it might turn you on, but you still be sad that I killed your sis and her kid, though, I hope. No one would miss you if you were dead. I could easily find blah, 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 blah. Like, there's so many of these. So much hatred. Meanwhile, it doesn't matter. These people are actually threatening to kill me. What matters is that I'm not young and pretty. What matters is that I'm not female. What matters is that I don't have a friend or family member who gives a shit. My guilt is assumed because I have a penis. Claiming that I harassed her every day. Well, you know, if her friends are making fake accounts to try to get her to like them, or to get them to have a dependency. I wonder how many fake accounts they made, because I know that they made over a dozen fake accounts at least to harass me before Natalie was killed. So through this, she's literally accusing me of, first of all, doing what she asked me to do. Then she's making false accusations. And of course, accusing me of doing the things that her and her friends were doing. Making numerous accounts to fucking harass me. Now it says, making numerous accounts until I block him again. Threatening my family, telling me he'll kill himself in front of me, and sending my friends and family harassing messages as well. Well, I didn't say that I'd kill myself in front of her. But I certainly wanted to. Absolutely 100%. Those of you women who have watched this far in, does it occur to you yet how you destroy an innocent man's life by pretending just because you're embarrassed? It says, let's see, the closest thing to the truth in here is her saying that I would kill myself in front of her, and even that's not true. It says, I'm sharing this because he's posting slander about me all over Facebook. What slander did I post? I posted up evidence that came from her, in her words. She wants you to believe that it's slander. That's fine. I still have the evidence. The evidence is still attached to her account. Obviously, I would have had to hack into her account and have a conversation with myself for over a year in order for any of this shit to be true. It says, I'm sharing this because he's posting slander about me all over Facebook. Oh, you mean like about her dad molesting her? No, those words came from her. About her dad beating on her? No, those were her words. Her words. I'm being punished because I told on my predators, including Natalie Bollinger. It says, now this part right here, this is what predators do. They don't want you to listen to their victims. They want to play victim. They want you to listen to them and only them. They want you to harm another person without hearing that person's side, and that is exactly what's happened here. None of my friends have bothered to hear my side. I've tried to tell them, but they talk over it, dismiss it, downplay the importance of it. It says he's posting slander about me all over Facebook. So if you receive a message, I am sincerely sorry. Please ignore him. She wants my predators at this point. These people that she's making these messages for the benefit of are people that she is hoping will take part in harming me. She's playing victim. She knows exactly what she's doing. Girls are taught how to do this from day one, just like boys are taught from day one that we're supposed to protect these kind of women. Why? When she calls you and says that she's suicidal over her family, and if you don't go there, she's going to kill herself. Well, guess what happens if you do go there? You get blamed for everything wrong in her life because she still wants those POSs to love her, and they don't. It says, please ignore him. It only encourages him when he gets a response, much like a child. So, of course, it's the insinuations and the accusations, and, of course, the name-calling. I tried to deal with it like an adult. I tried going to the police. I tried talking to Natalie like an adult. I tried talking to her mother like an adult. I tried getting a hold of who I was told to get a hold of to get the help that I needed. And the help that I needed wasn't to be treated like some sort of fucking pedophile. The help that I needed was help stopping that abuse. She also writes, this is the one right here at the very end. This is the key that all of you fall for. Every fucking one of you falls for it. You won't even look at the evidence because she wrote, he's mentally ill and I'm trying to fix this. No, she was trying to destroy an innocent person's life, and she absolutely did so. She wasn't trying to fix anything. And calling me mentally ill? Well, obviously she had a lethal dose of heroin in her system when she was killed. So when I said that she was on heroin, that's not slander. That's not a mental illness. Speaking up about abuse is not a mental illness. Also, speaking up about abuse is not a valid excuse for harming people. I spoke up about abuse on my Facebook. I didn't threaten to kill people. I spoke up about abuse. She made this post. I made posts too. While her post is full of bullshit, mine was full of the truth. While she's treated like my victim, I'm still being victimized over her slander. And I am fucking pissed off that she is not alive to take the full responsibility for her actions.